Good afternoon. It's Dr. Cortez. Lesson natin today, special topics in FM, financial management. Last time we talked about the cash management, and today let's talk about the receivable management. At this point in time, I know that you already know what is a receivable, mga pautang. Pautang ng business, negosyo niya, no? And we can't avoid receivable sa ating mga business kasi nga may mga customers tayong paying using their credit cards, transfer, yan. So, hindi palaging cash yung bayad sa atin. So, we can't really avoid receivable. So, even big companies like multinational, they really have receivable management kasi you can encourage buyers if they can pay on account or by installment. Sa Pilipinas if you're selling something, may nagtatanong pwede bang hulugan, so it means that mas enticing pag receivable para sa kanila. So this is the topic for today. So once again, I am Dr. Cortez. So hindi pa nakapag-subscribe, pwede bang pa-click yung subscribe button natin. Okay, so ito yung ating mga topics to be covered for today. Of course, receivable management, account receivable analysis, determining the receivable management using financial ratio. So we have only a handful of topics, only 3 topics now. And of course, we have the learning outcomes, the objectives after the lesson. After this sharing, what are you guys capable of doing? So that is the outcome natin, targeting learning outcome for all the viewers and participants natin today. And so I will hold you responsible for the learning outcomes natin. For example, we will be discussing today, you can be able to discuss later on the ratio relationship, the relationship ng balance sheet and income statement. You should now be able to compare a firm's ratio with those of other firms. That is benchmarking now. That is important that you should know how to compute para maka-compare mo sa mga competitors na receivable mo. Kung compared to them, mas marami bang pautang or mas marami silang pautang or balance lang. Okay, so AR, at this point, when we see AR, be reminded na we are talking about account receivable. To shorten, so AR is account receivable. Money owed to us by our clients or customers. So that is account receivable. Basically, account receivable is an asset of the company. That is resources. No? Ari-arian ng company yan. Kasi siyempre, receivable is pautang. That is good as cash pag nakolekta. Although mas liquid ang cash compared to receivable. Pero receivable is also useful for us. The objective of account receivable management is minimize. So, nagpapautang tayo but we should minimize yung collection time. Baka masyadong matagal yung ating collection time. So, magtatagal receivable sa nagagamit natin sa ating business natatenga, no? Naka-freeze yung natin, pera doon sa kanila. Sa magagamit natin. Ayan. And we also have here a last sentence. Account receivable is often the biggest current asset on the balance sheet. Kasi nagpapautang kasi tayo. Sabihin, pag marami kang pautang, so receivable is the biggest, one of the biggest asset. Minsan, mas marami ka pang pautang kaysa cash. Kasi, iba, nagpautang ka, hindi nagbabayad. So, still receivable. Also, ang target natin dito, although nagpapautang tayo, we should shorten yung collection time, like 15 days ba? Give them discount, no? Give them discount if hindi sila nagbabayad. example, 30 days, sabihin mo, we can decrease, we can reduce 5% sa yung sa aming pautang sa inyo. It will pay us ahead of time. 30 days, di ba? O bayaran mo within 20 days lang. Pabawasan namin ng 5% yung pautang sa inyo. So, sometimes, you will get the offer na bayad ng maaga in exchange of a reduction sa pautang ninyo sa kanila. Tapos utang 100,000 pesos, 30 days, no? Then, sabi mo, sige, bawasan natin ang ano yan, 10,000. Bayad ka ng maaga, no? So, that is one of our technique, how to collect receivable as early as possible. Kasi pag habang tumatagal, no, yung may chance na hindi mo collect pag tumatagal eh. At the earliest possible time, collectin natin. Okay, why receivables management is so important? That is the bloodline. Sabi ko kanina, receivable is as good as cash ng ano. Kasi mga receivable na hindi masyadong nakukolekta, masyadong nagtatagal, no? Inabot ng 120 days, that is not good for the company. Pwede kang mabankrupt na kung hindi ka makakolekta. Pag malaking project, it will run for more than 1 year na. So, pag nag-backlog yung project. So, you can collect any more the receivable, 1 million pesos. And working capital is one of the most costliest form of capital. So, last time we talked about working capital. Working capital is your current asset minus your current liability. Pag sinabing working capital, ito yung capital na pwede mong gamitin sa mga araw-araw operation ng iyong company. So, mas malaking working capital, so mas maganda for the company. Kaya lang, siyempre, pag marami kang pautang, so meron ka rin mga cost involved sa mga pautang. Example, collecting the receivable. Right? So, wala kang magandang collection, so wala kang cash na magkukolekta. So, wala kang gamitin cash for operation. A reliable and predictable receivables will ensure steady cash flow management. Yan. Utang ka, kaya lang, you should know when to collect. Pero kung meron kang makakolekta sa mga pautang mo. Yan. So that meron kang due date, huwag kang pautang ng pautang. You could be a wise businessman, no? Kung pautang ka, bigyan ng due date. Normally, 15 days, no? Pag medyo bagong customer, 15 days. So, habang patagal yung customer sa'yo, yung credit term sa kanya, tumatagal din. 15 days, 30. Pero pag bagong customer yan, cash, you require them to pay in cash pag bagong customers na. Account receivable analysis, aging report. So, the word aging means yung bang inaorasan natin through days yung ating mga receivable. We divide the receivables into credit due date. Basahin natin, aging of account receivable. Ito yung una kong, when I was an accountant in one company, ito yung pinakauna kong ginagawa nung after graduation from college. Ito yung aking unang ginawa. Ito yung aking unang function sa isang company, mag-age ng receivable. Yan, ibig sabihin, dinidivide natin yung mga account receivable natin into days kasi di ba based on the due date so hatiin natin mga receivable natin based on due date. Example, 15 days past due, isang column. 30 days past due, isang column. So kung natin siya, depende sa kung ilang araw na yung lumipas na hindi na kukolekta ang isang receivable. Yan. Huwag natin ilagay dito yung we will not be listing down here yung mga receivable hindi pa due. Sinusulat natin dito yung mga receivable na lampas na sa due date. Hindi para malaman natin kung dapat naman kolektahin na isang receivable. So may parang basically you should be having a column, an Excel column dito. Example, first column, yung mga 10 days past due. Second column, mga 15 days past due. So, habang papalayo yung column, example, column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, pag nasa column 7 na yung amount ng receivable, it means patagal na siyang due date. So, dapat na siyang kolektahin. So, an example of an aging of account receivable. Ito yung format. You can use this format. The name of the company is first line, manufacturing sample. Second line, the name of the report. And the third line, the date covered. So, as of December 15, 2015, ito yung mga receivable. Yung sa first column, ito yung mga customers ng company. Ito yung mga utang sa company. In second column, pag yung receivable hindi pa due date, ilagay mo dito current. Okay? Now, pag lumampas na siya ng 1 to 30 days, na past due, ilagay mo sa dito. Pag yung receivable ay past due na ng 61 to 90 days, ilagay mo sa dito. So, paano kikita mo dito, habang lumalayo, sa first column yung mga amount, it means dapat nang kolektahin yung receivable. Kasi lumalayo na siya eh. Sabihin, matagal na siyang due date, past due. Pero pag nasa first column pa lang sabihin, hindi pa sa red flag, no? It is still tolerable. Hindi pa masyadong kukolektahin kasi maaga pa. There is one format of aging of account receivable. Pwede nyo gamitin sa mga businesses ninyo. Account receivable analysis, trend line. Ito naman, you can also use this technique, the trend line analysis. You can plot outstanding accounts receivable balance at the end of each month for the past year, and use it to predict the amount of receivables that should be outstanding in the near future. So, madalis ang gawin, no? May mga tools naman tayo sa Excel na just list down the amount of receivable per month. At the end of this, each month, example, January, February, March, April, May. Then click the trend graph. Graph lang to eh. Example, you click the line graph. Then gagawa siyang line graph, no? Basically, line graph naman pinapakita dyan yung pagtaas ng receivable. Ibig sabihin, pag meron kang trend na analysis ngayong taon, you can use that next year to predict. You can compare, no? Yung trend line mo ngayong taon tapos trend line next year or year-to-year level. Sabihin, malalaman mo dyan yung mga anong taon, anong month yung mas malaki, mas mataas ang receivable. That's it. That is it. I have an example. Yes. Mamaya, no? I have example of trend line analysis later on. Account receivable turnover, it means yung pag nakolekta ang isang receivable, that is turnover. So, ilang beses nakokolekta ang isang receivable sa loob ng isang taon, that is the account receivable turnover. Pag madalas, example, 10 times ang turnover, 20 times ang turnover, sabihin, madalas na makakolekta. Pero pag nakita mong sa loob ng isang taon, ang turnover mo is 5 times, 6 times, ibig sabihin yan, 5 times ka lang nakakolekta sa loob ng isang taon. So, that is not good. Diba, sabi natin ang due date nga natin, 15 days lang di ba? So, let's say 15 days. Sa loob ng isang taon, dapat maka 24 times na makakolekta. Turnover tawag natin dyan. Kasi pag sa 5 times lang, so parang every 2 months ka lang makakolekta, every 6 months ka lang makakolekta. Pag 2 times lang ang iyong account receivable, pag 6 times lang yung account receivable turnover, parang every 2 months ka nakakolekta. That is not good. Masyadong matagal yung 2 months. Nakolekta yung mga pautang nyo. Sabi ko kanina, habang tumatagal ang pautang, yung chance na hindi siya makolekta or maging uncollectable or bad debts yan, mas tumataas yung chance. Kung paabutin masyadong matagal. This one is a ratio analysis. The most commonly used ratio is the account receivable period. Account receivable period, ipinapakita na itong account receivable period yung the number of days na isang customer nyo ay nagbabayad sa'yo. Yan. So, ilang buwan ba yung madalas na na collection time mo? Pag sinabi natin 60 days, ibig sabihin? Ang normal time and the average, ang normal time na collection day, 60 days. 2 buwan bago makakolekta, no? So, dapat mga average collection time, mga 15 days, 20. 15 to 20 days. Kasi ang madalas namang credit na binibigay natin 15 days, di ba? So, 15 to 20 days collection time. I know that is feasible, that is enough. Huwag lang mga 45 days, masyadong matagal na yan. And ito, account receivable turnover, ilang beses nakakolekta ang receivable sa loob ng isang taon. So we have a formula here na account receivable, that is the average. So kunin muna natin yung average account receivable ng ating company. Okay, so for ang account receivable turnover, we compute this every year. So this ratio measures how many times a company convert its receivable into cash each year. So bawat taon. Ilang taon, ilang beses na nagko-convert ng cash, ng receivable into cash or nagkakolekta sa loob ng isang taon. That is account receivable turnover. Formula natin, we should get first the account receivable average. Average account receivable. Beginning receivable plus ending receivable divided by 2. Example. Kung January 1, ang account receivable mo ay 50,000. That is the beginning. Then on December 31, account receivable mo is 40. That is the ending. Just add the 2. So you have 90,000 divided by 2. So the average account receivable is 45,000. So 45,000, lagay mo dito sa ilalim. That is your denominator. 45,000. Then, your numerator is the net sales of the company, yung benta. And just divide 500,000 divided by 45,000. And you have 11. So 11 means 11 times. Sa loob isang taon, 11 times siya nakakakolekta ng receivable on the average. Sabihin, in 1 year, 11 times na na-convert ang receivable into cash. So parang halos monthly, no? Halos monthly nangongolekta ka. So that is good. That is good turnover, no? Kasi pag 6 times, masyadong mabagal. 11 times, 12 times, 13 times, okay. Pag 5 times, pangit. Days sales uncollected. Ito nang pinapakita dito. How many days? On the average in 1 year, ilang araw ang binibilang bago makolekta ang receivable? Para kasi masyadong matagal ang collection time mo. So, hindi masyadong maganda for the company. Formula natin, days sales uncollected, account receivable net, that is 405,000. At 405,000. Sorry, that is not 405 yan. Mali. Kasi natin yan. That should be 40,000. Let's correct this one. Account receivable is 40,000. Anong gagamitin sa account receivable net? Yung beginning ba or yung ending receivable? So, ang gamitin natin ay yung ending receivable. Yung receivable sa katapusan ng taon. That is 40,000. Ending. Okay? So, yun lagay natin dito sa ating numerator. That is 40,000. Please check this one, no? Please correct this one. That is not 405,000. That should be 40,000. So, 40,000 divided by 500,000. If you're going to divide 40 by 500, so you have 0.8. And multiplied by 365. 365 is the number of days in 1 year. And 0.08 times 365, you have 29 days. So, ano ibig sabihin yan? Sa loob ng isang taon, bumibilang ka ng 29 days bago molekta ang mga pautang mo. On the average, 29 days. So, wala pang isang buwan. Matagal ba yan? Okay lang. Kasi, alas buwan ba nangungulekta ka? 29 days eh. Ang pangit, yung pag nakuha mo dito yung 45 days, isa't kalahating buwan ka bago makakolekta. Ito, 29 days lang, no? Mas lalo pag 60 days nakuha mo dyan, matagal. Yan, 29 days po baba. 29, 28, 27, 26, that is good, good days sales uncollected. magandang figure nga 29 pababa. 29 days pababa. Ang magandang figure na sa collection. Aging report, individual credit terms, management may have authorized. Unusually long credit terms to specific customers. Depende sa ano yun, depende sa customers, depende sa amount, depende sa item. Ang ating credit terms individually. Of course, hindi pare-pareho ang ating credit term na binibigay sa mga customers natin. Right? Kasi pag bagong customer, sabi natin kanina, so COD. Pag yan ay medyo matagal na, sige, 30 days. And depende rin sa volume. Siyempre, pag maraming pinili sa atin in bulk, so bigyan mo ng medyo mahabang credit term. At depende rin sa item na binibili. Pag malakihan yan, example, aeroplano. Aeroplano, di pwedeng COD, no? Aeroplano. Bigyan mo ng, pag aeroplano binibenta mo, no? Example, ikaw Airbus. Kung may bumiling aeroplano, may airline na bumiling aeroplano siya dalawa. 5 years to pay. Yan. So, depende sa ang credit term mo, depende sa customers, depende sa quantity, depende sa product na binibili sa'yo. Unapplied credits, there may be unapplied credits on the report. If so, clean up the report by researching which invoice they should have been applied against. Doing so may reduce the amount of overdue receivables listed on the report. If I can recall na, I was an accountant in one company. Yan, sabi ko kanina, ito yung pinakauna kong ginagawa. Gumawa ng account receivable bawat buwan. Hindi ko na perfect yung receivable. Kasi may mga invoice na hindi na pala binabayaran ng mga customers. Siyempre, pag ikaw if you want to remove the receivable, siyempre bayad. Siyempre bayaran ng customers na. That minsan pala, yung pautang, utang versus utang. Example, company A, company B, para may utang sa isa't isa. So, hindi nagbabayaran yan. Ino-offset na lang. So, minsan yung boss ko dati, sabi, hindi ko naman perfect account receivable. Sabi ko, nagbabase ako sa mga collection. Yung pala, may tinatawag silang offsetting. Yung utang mo, pag-offset tayo, utang mo, tanggalin ko. Utang ko sa'yo, tanggalin mo rin. So, yung receivable na mawala na. So, hindi palaging ang receivable ay hindi palaging naka-base sa collection. Ito mga unapplied credits. Yung credit versus credit ng customers, dalawang companies, credit versus credit. Tanggalin mo credit ko sa'yo, tanggalin mo credit mo sa akin. Para offset, no? Receivable ko matatanggal na. So wala nang utang sa isa't isa. Yan. So merong ganun mga scenario. So you should be cleaning up yung report mo, hindi lang sa collection but on the offsetting. Which quits ba, no? Which quits sa utang. Trend analysis, equal bad debts, bankruptcy. Sabi ko kanina, we should be avoiding bad debts. Kasi pag puro na sa utang, wala ka lang perang gagamitin, hindi ka na masyadong liquid. It will result to bankruptcy ng company. Siyempre, pag wala masyadong pera, no? Walang babayad sa mga suppliers, employees, salary, operations. So, di natatakbo yung kasi wala kang working capital. Hindi natatakbo yung operation ng yung company. Until such time that you will be filing bankruptcy. Okay, bad debts over a period of time. Pag masyadong malaki, we should be avoiding. Okay naman yung bad debts, no? Sabi kanina sa business, meron tayong conservatism. We should not be expecting all profit. Sometimes you should be expecting losses. So, yung bad debts or collectibles, may allowance ka dyan. Ibig sabihin, hindi lahat ng receivable mo ay expect mo makokolekta. No. May mga receivable talagang hindi talaga makokolekta. So, you should be setting like 10%, 20% ng receivable mo allowance for uncollectibles. bad debts. Para pag may hindi nagbayad, yung impact hindi masyadong malaki. Anyway, you're expecting the bad debts. So be conservative. Hindi lahat ng collectibles ay makakolekta. You set an allowance for bad debts. Okay, this is a particularly useful tool when you run the bad debt percentage analysis for individual customers. It can be spent right. So, 20% guys, no? 20% yung ating yung ating allowance sa mga bad debts na sa ating mga customers. And individually, hindi naman lahat kasi may mga customers talaga may history. Para sa atin, may mga customers na may history hindi masyadong on time magbayad. Yung binibigyan nating allowance. May customers namang COD, siyempre, wala masyadong allowance for bad debts, mga COD payer. May customers na mga galing magbayad, mabilis. So, pwedeng wala ka ng allowance. Ang pinipredict natin ay yung mga customers na mayroong history na hindi masyadong on time nagbabayad sa atin. This one example of trend analysis. Trend line, no? Ibig sabihin, you plot, type mo sa Excel yung iyong mga receivable every month, then click the graph, no? It can create a graph for you. Line graph, ganito. Okay, so madali siyang tingnan kasi kitang-kita mo, no? Example, January 1, 2009. Ang time na pinakamataas ang pautang mo. So you can compare this trend. If you will be preparing trend line analysis per month, year in, year out, you can compare which year, which month ang malakas ang receivable ng company. You can do benchmarking within your own company. That's the benefit of trend line analysis. Planning, important. Planning for a good system. Receivable, good practices within your company in practices when it comes to receivable management of the company. Ito, maganda ito. No? Una, how can you avoid receivable, or how can you Phase 10, speed up the collection of receivable. Define clear terms for payment. Business is business. Kahit kamag-anak yan, may term, no? O kamag-anak, o 15 days. Hanggang 15 days collection. Negosyo to no? 30 days. Very clear. To have a well-defined, clear terms of payment is half the battle won. So, nagpapautang ka, wala kang credit term, so talo ka na. Kung umasa ka lang sa kailan sila magbabayad, so talo ka na. Kasi dapat, kahit sinong customers, no, merong dapat na credit term established, sinasabi sa kanila. Hindi yung kung hindi pwedeng pay when able, no? Kung kailan lang magbabayad, kung kailan may pera. Hindi naman lahat ganun. Wala namang mga companies, mga customers na walang initiative to pay pag hindi mo kinalektahan. So pag nag-invoice ka, nakalagay doon yung credit term 30 days. Yan. Yung term should be written in the invoice that you should be sending to the customers. Kahit ka sa PO nila, no? Yung PO, di ba ang PO, yung customers natin, pag may binili sa atin, hanapan nyo ng PO, purchase order. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga binili nyo. Sabihin yung PO na pinadala sa amin, i-invoice namin kayo. Sa PO pala nakalagay yung terms, down payment. Example, 50% down payment, then 50%, 30% upon delivery, and 20% after 20 days. Yan, nakalagay sa PO para wala silang palag. They really understand yung term, kailangan magbabayad sila. Kung meron kang ganon, you won half of the battle Kumbaga, complacent ka na yung chance na hindi sila magbayad ay maliit. Kasi alam nila yung term So, okay lang na, don't worry, no? Pag, sir, Pag kami ba nag-ask ng advance payment, pangit ba yun? Akala natin kasi pag nag-ask ka ng advance payment sa kanila, akala mo next time nila sa bibili sa'yo. Kasi ikaw naman, di ba, pag huwag tayo bumili dyan kasi nagpapa-down payment yan. That is good practice in business. Magpa-down payment ka. Para safe. Pag ikaw nagbebenta, mararamdaman mo yun, no? Dapat magpapa-down payment ka. Para safe. Good practice. Well-defined credit policies. How much? Kanina credit term, no? Ito naman ay credit policy. How much credit is to be given and to whom and for how long? O depende sa every customer has a different credit policies. Pag with payor yan, parang lenient ka, no? Yan. So every kind of customer, depende. Case to case na. Pag with payor, so magandang credit policy sa kanila. Pwede mo lang down payment. Pero pag yung mga bagong customers, tapos not a good payor, so down payment policy, 50%. Down payment. Mag-accept ng pag-sign ng contract, down payment. So iba-iba yung natin, policy sa iba-ibang type of customers natin. That's like a good practice, that is to be safe. Pag bagong customers, huwag kang tumanggap ng cheque. Dapat cash, cold cash. Kasi, diba, may bouncing check na. Mas bago. So, cash. Setting responsibilities clearly. Who will follow up and collect the payment? There should be very clear cut policy regarding this one. Otherwise, it everlasting. So, meron namang, may mga, sa mga companies man natin, meron tayong mga, especially pag masyadong malaki yung company. Although trabaho ng accountant ang finance ng mga kolekta, sometimes you can, para isahan lang, one time, big time, save on time, save on resources. Kung sino nagbentang sales team, bigyan mo ng resibo, padala mo silang resibo, sila mangolekta. Ginagawa namin dati sa isang company ko, no? Pag magbebenta ka ng aircon, pag-deliver mo, yung resibo, yung OR ng company, dala-dala na nila. Sila na mangolekta doon sa taong bumili sa'yo. Parang kaliwaan, no? Kahit sila'y technician, we give them OR. Sila na mangolekta. Although that is the task of the messenger or collectors. Patong to save time nga, no? Kung sino nag-deliver, technician, production, binibigyan namin ng OR. Special receipt sila ng mangolekta. So it's good practice sometimes to assign the collection to the sales team of your company. Kasi they have a good rapport. Pag nagbebenta, nag-sales team, no? Maganda, may masamahan na yun, no? Meron ng good communication, good rapport yung nagbenta sa yung bumili. So, sila ng mangolekta. Kaya yun, pag ganun. Okay, proper credit check process in place. So, having a credit policy with no credit check in place is absolutely wasteful sa mga companies natin. Important. Sa Pilipinas, hindi pa masyadong uso yung credit rating ng mga companies. But to avoid for this one, to avoid bad debts, check natin yung credit policy ng mga customers natin. Pag, for example, 5 stars. Ibig sabihin, yung customer na yan, good payor sa kanyang history. Payment history sa mga previous transactions niya. So, maganda yung kanyang rating, 5 stars. Pag nakita mong 1 star, or totally wala siyang rating, ibig sabihin, wala pa siyang history na siya ay good payor. Okay, so how do we do this one? May mga companies na mga rating companies, may credit rating companies na nagpa-publish ng ang ratings ng mga different companies pag sila ay bumibili. Just analyze their history. Yan. Okay, another one. So, pag malaki nga pag the company is big, meron siyang legal department, that is in case of default of the company, default in the contract of the customer, so merong legal team to handle, or legal expert or consultant to handle the collection. Ito din yung papasok mga demand letter sa mga customers na masyado ng delinquent sa payment. Okay, now, sir, paano pag we are a small company, we don't have enough staff to do the collection, do the receivable. Sabi ko nga lahat ng functions ng company, ng isang organization, pwede mo lang i-outsource. Example, you can outsource the call collection, you can outsource the HR management. So the same thing, you can also outsource the receivable process. Wala ka masyadong expertise at handle mo sa company yan, sa outsourcing company. Siya lang gagawa ng receivable management para sa'yo. Sila magbibiling, sila mangongolekta. Yan, sila lang, kumbaga the dirty job of collecting, sila nang bahala doon. In case of default, sila nang mangongolekta. So ikaw, papasok na lang yung pera sa'yo, yung collection. Siyempre may cut, may bayad sila dyan. Example, total receivable ng company, 1,500,000, 1.5 million. Sabi ng outsource company, sige, we'll do the process of the receivable collection. Pero sa 1.5 million, yung 200,000 sa amin na. Diba? May cut sila doon. Or you can totally pay them. You can pay them on a monthly basis sa kanilang ginagawang process. So, I think that is more feasible and as a cost, a saving for the company pag pinapa-outsource. Kasi let's say, they will do the job for 3 days lang. Diba? So, may lang. So, ang bayad, ganun lang, 3 days. Samantalang pag meron kang receivable collector talaga, parang you are paying him 1 month salary. Pero ang trabaho naman, hindi pang 1 month. No? May petics pa yan. Siguro, this one is a good practice. Outsourcing the receivable, establishing credit policy, establishing credit terms sa mga pautang mo, and let's see, it will mag-click sa mga company, mga good practices na to. I think this one is the last slide for the day. So, maraming salamat sa mga nag-view ng aking recording now. At maraming salamat din sa mga magsasubscribe. This has been Dr. Cortez signing off. At maraming salamat, people. Bye, everyone.